Here we go. As it loads. What's up, gang? Dead Girl here. Happy Wednesday. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. I'm here with our good friend, Jarrad Walker, who is also, you may recognize him from his costuming, also known for Cripple Cosplay and, what is it, Running with Style? Sweet.
Yeah.
So,
on Instagram.
Jarrad is a good friend of ours. I wanted to have him on the show because he is, he is a cripple, as I affectionately call him. He is very, very unique. So I just kind of wanted to share him with you guys. I wanted to share with you guys how much of an amazing costumer he is, how athletic he is for being in his position. So I just wanted to take a few minutes and chat. So for those of you that aren't familiar or don't know Jarrad, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Like I said, I'm a cripple. I'm a horror fanatic. I have been almost all my life. And that's really the main parts of me. I am horror and fitness. Really.
Now, when a lot of people, when they think cripple, for the people that don't know you, and I know you're physically challenged, would you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Okay, I have a disability called spina bifida. It causes paralysis of me from the waist down. And as of a few years ago, I'm also a double leg amputee from an infection that's caused havoc.
And I mean, I've known you for many and many years, and I've never known that to be any type of inhibitor for you. In fact, you do more than what most able-bodied people do in this day and age, whether it's your costuming or, you know, your running. So I wanted to take a few minutes and talk to you first about your costuming, and then I'd love to get into the athletic portion of you. So you have an Instagram that you go under called Cripple Cosplay, and you do all kinds of really cool costuming. Big fan of your work. I remember working on you with JD a couple of years ago when we actually started to get the chance to get to know you personally and not just from, you know, the outside. So I wanted to kind of go through some of the cool costumes that we've seen you do over the years and just kind of talk about them. One of them that I'm going to show here is your stretcher costume back when you were on the stretcher, and it's got the big tombstone, and there's a lovely woman pushing you in that stretcher. So now the person pushing you, that's Ma, as we all call her. And now I know she and you tend to do a lot of costuming together. So this is one of the first ones I remember seeing you guys do together. Is this one of your earlier costumes? Now, how did you guys come up with this? Like, at this point, you were still in the stretcher. You didn't have your chair yet. Did you still have your legs at this point? Oh, wow. And you were like, put me in, let's be dead, go.
Before this work, Busch Gardens Hollow Streams was character, and because of being stuck on this stretch, I couldn't there anymore. So I needed to get my horror fix, and I knew people who worked there that had gone to Spooky Empire, and so let me check it out. And originally, I did not want to come, not at all. I just wanted to go and hang out, and my mother actually convinced me.
Don't have his audio on the picture.
So that was the very first iteration of the grave costume.
Oh, that's awesome. So I've got...
It was also kind of a more because basically while I was in my coma, I should have died. So like a coming out of the grave thing.
Well, I know I'm personally glad that you're still here. I know many other people are glad that you're still with us. I wanted to show you another costume that we dug up. Haha, pun intended. Now, this one it looks like you're in in an actual coffin, and there's Ma behind you with the gun. It looks like that was for one of the zombie walks. I'm assuming that was Spooky Empire.
Yes. That was... I think this was just after I my power chair. I still had my legs then, so we needed to find something to cover up my legs. So we came up with the coffin as part of like the next iteration to the grave.
Oh, okay. I do like the coffin one. Now let's see, what else do we got here? Okay, so this one you guys did a couple years ago. This is one of my favorites. This is the Misery costume that you and Ma did. So there's you in the bed, and then there's Ma behind you pushing you. And I know for some of the photos she was bashing your legs. And I know at that point you would post real legs for you. So those were actually prosthetic legs that you had made, weren't they?
Yes, those are silicone legs that I had made.
That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah. And that's another thing about me. I like to make fun of things. So if I could my whole thing was to freak people out with Mom smash my legs, because I was hysterical.
I
just
remember walking down
out.
the hallway and kind of stopping, and I got a couple of pictures you guys in that costume, and I remember just stopping and looking over and seeing Ma just like bashing the hell out of your legs, and you played it off and were screaming and hollering and freaking out, and people around you who didn't know you, the look on their faces of just like shock and oh my god, is this happening, it was beautiful.
That's what I'm into. I am extremely morbid like that.
You're a sick man.
I find it hilarious.
You're a sick man.
Thank you.
And I love the fact that you have your mother so involved with pretty much all the costumes I've ever seen you guys do. You've always done something together, and I think that that's fantastic that you have that kind of close relationship where, you know, you guys, you're not just, you know, mother and son. You guys are also, you have this fantastic friendship. You know, I think that's a wonderful thing, and a lot of people, when they first see you, don't realize, you know, that she's Ma, that she's your mom, and that this is kind of become her thing too. Because I know she wasn't always into the spooky, morbid stuff either.
She still isn't, which is kind of funny. We can't watch a horror movie past like 3 in the afternoon because it freaks her out.
She's been doing good.
Still.
She's been tuning in with us on Saturday nights.
I've seen that. But she always asks me beforehand, "Is this movie gonna freak me out?" It's like, no.
She's been doing good.
If it's gonna freak out, she'll actually switch screen, and she'll go play a game while she listens to it.
So that's a good way to do it. I love it.
She's never been into the horror thing. It wasn't until I wanted to go to Spooky Empire that she got the horror thing. Our first convention, she was terrified of what she would see.
Aww.
She's never been into it. It's always been me, and it's kind of grown on her. Mostly because of the people we've surrounded ourselves with, like and JD.
Those are pretty rad. That's awesome, and we're definitely glad that you guys have come and you guys have joined our band of weirdos. In keeping with amazing costumes, now there's 2 more that I've got that I wanted to show. The first one here is, it's actually you and Ma is the Invisible Man, and you are Herman Munster. Oh my,
Herman
phenomenal. Very, 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 very awesome. Very well done. I know Ma does a lot of fabricating for you guys as well as herself, but I also know that some of the stuff is just it's too it's very labor intensive. So I know that you guys also do outsource, and you guys go through, what is it, Morph Store?
Right. That specific costume, Morph Store built. He made the head and the hands, and Mom actually fabricated the electric chair.
Show that one real quick just to give everybody another look at your amazing Herman monster and the chair, and then of course Ma is the Invisible Man.
But that one was I enjoyed. We're Frankenstein as well at some point.
Yeah,
with that one.
The head is very similar, and you could definitely pull that off. It's probably one of my favorites that you guys have done together. It's very classic, which is very cool.
I will tell you the times that I've worn that one, more people have called me Frankenstein than actually knew that it was her.
I mean, I get it, but fake horror fans. It's fake horror fans is what that is. Alright, got a couple of people got all kinds of love in the chat. Prairie love that one. Val says those are pretty epic. Haunt scenes loving stuff. So we got some good people checking things out. Now the last costume that I had is this picture was taken at Spooky Empire, the one that happened in December, and this is you in that phenomenal Krampus costume, and then there's Ma behind you is the evil little elf, and that costume in itself is absolutely gorgeous, and you are both phenomenal when you're rocking that thing.
Krampus by far my favorite character, because before the Krampus movie came out, he was so obscure that nobody really knew about it unless you were really into it. So he was one of my favorites. Not that he's just gorgeous, but he's absolutely one of my favorite characters just to play, because you don't have to be the nice guy. I can be the bad guy.
The total bad. Now, that one was also, I believe, that was a Morph Store piece as well, and you had one of the cast from Face Off actually helped work on that one, didn't she?
Of the Face Off contestants from Face Off actually did that one. The hair was laid by Emily Serpent. Just totally cool. Before I knew these guys, friends, that was
Face Off. That's awesome. I'm going to show that Krampus one real quick now. When I do go to pictures, it doesn't pick up your audio, so I apologize. So here's another shot of Jarrad in that Krampus costume. He's actually got the little swatch with him, and then there's Ma back behind him, wandering over, guiding you in the chair there. So yeah, it's that was a beautiful costume, and every time you wear that thing, I see people just kind of mob right to you, because it's phenomenal. It really is. And you guys play it off and wear it so well.
I think the second Krampus, the on Vacation.
So for those of you that haven't seen Krampus on Vacation, it's the same Krampus costume, except he has like a Hawaiian shirt, he's got some shades on, and he's got a little tiki type cup. He's on vacay. He's a Florida Krampus. This is how I see it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was going
throughout
for.
All of your different costuming, what makes you choose those particular characters? I know, aside from the horror aspect and you being a giant horror fan, which I can appreciate and totally feel that as well, what made you go with a character like Herman Munster, or something that's a little bit off to the left is Krampus?
Actually, most of our costuming has come from the drives to and from doctors, because it took 2 hours each way to get to the doctor. So spend those 2 hours spitballing ideas, and that's how Krampus came along. That's Herman came along. That's how most of our costumes have come along. There's random thoughts or ideas. Now, Mom was into monsters, which is, it's not exactly horror, it's horror. That was something she was into. So I was like, let's do the monsters. That's the other thing. I don't like to do a lot of things that people have really seen.
I can respect that, and I can completely identify with that. I'm the same way. I costume as well. I hate doing something that there's 30 of. I like doing that left character, like, Deadeye Dash. I love doing stuff like that because that's stuff you don't see it. Or the female Cenobite, because that's something that you're not going to see at every convention you go to. I want that something different. And, you being the same way, I think that's fantastic.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Just things I do. I haven't seen that I might want to see.
Now, what are you guys working on? Anything
But
in the future? Do you have any ideas that you might want to hint at for us?
I know, not me personally. Now, see, here's a brand from doing kind of like group costumes. And Mom's been kind of doing her own, so she's got some that are coming out soon that have to do Disney villains. Oh, yeah.
I know what it is, and I'm not saying nothing. But it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
So we've been doing the group costume idea, but we've been doing a separate thing at the same time. I'm now at a point where I can do more since I've had my amputations and that I can do more for myself and doing 2 separate costumes.
That's awesome. Now how does that work out when it's something like, because I know you guys are close-ish to Tampa, Orlando area, so for you, like driving to a convention like Spooky, you guys pack everything in your van, you take it with you. Is that really difficult to figure out, who's going to costume as what, and how much you can actually fit in the van on the way there?
It's not really a thought until we're packing it. It's like, okay, let's build. Will it fit?
Well, I think
I know a lot of people out there who are probably also friends who have seen my MS before Spooky pictures where I lay everything out before we fit it in the van, and it's sometimes a miracle that we can fit some of the larger props like the electric chair, or that is all in one piece that doesn't get put together until together before we even get there. So it is kind of a game of Tetris sometimes.
I can only imagine. I've helped you guys unload the car and load the car, and you have a lot of stuff. So it's always fun watching Ma work her mattress with Tetrising things, into the car so that everything has its own little place to get it there. So, I think it's great. And I'm very excited to see what you guys come up with, in the future as far as any type of costuming goes. Now,
that's also part of a disabled cosplay, is that a lot of medical stuff has to be included. You can't just throw like clothes in a case and go. There's a lot of other pieces and bits that have to go along with it that you have to account for, like chairs or the stretcher. Like, there's a cosplay that we did that was an infected zombie patient that I was actually running IV medication for. I was still fighting an infection. We were doing 8 to 10 hour medicine that I was still running.
You're a beast.
So it's all that you have to take into consideration.
And see, most people don't realize that, you have these issues that are, sometimes they're a nightmare to deal with, and sometimes things are actually, good, but you always have to think about that as far as like what you can put where as far as packing to go to the event. But when you're there, if you're having to medicate, like, what you just said, incorporating it into your costume, I think that's brilliant. A lot of people would not have thought to put that into their actual costuming, let alone people don't realize that, something like that is actually happening while you're standing there taking a picture or chatting with them, because, people don't live that life like you do.
Exactly. There are, now here's because there's a Krampus one. I've had people come up to me and ask me if they sit on my lap and not realize that the hooves are made out of mattress.
That you don't have a lap.
They don't actually. that I don't actually have a lap, have legs. And it's kind of, you have to tell them no, and they look at you like you're crazy.
See, that's
because they don't understand.
I was gonna say, if it would be easier to whip off a leg and then just like lightly tap them with it to get the point across, I think that
Mom has done Mom has done that before to at least 2 people that we could not, and she ripped the leg off and was like, here, slap. Absolutely hilarious.
Wow, and then I'm sure the look on the faces are priceless when they actually realize, holy crap, he doesn't have those legs, so I physically can't sit in his lap.
That's the best part. I love the shock of things.
Well, I can't wait.
It's like with Misery, the shock of actually having somebody hammer on what people think are actual legs, are really not if you don't know, is you were talking about is absolutely priceless for me. Like freaking.
I'm gonna show that Misery costume one more time here real quick, just because it's phenomenal. So there you've got your fake legs. I see the sledgehammer there on top of your body and Ma behind you pushing. So she was, she's whipping on you with that sledgehammer. But yeah, that's something that if you don't look close enough or you're not paying attention, you don't realize that those are not actually your legs.
Yep, and if you don't know me, then you would never know.
Which
that Misery costume was all Mom.
Right.
Because she loves Kathy Bates and Kathy Bates' character. That was all her.
I love it. Oh, she needs to do more Kathy Bates characters. I'm putting that request in right now. Tell her. I know you're watching, Ma. More Kathy Bates.
They're coming. She's got plenty of ideas. We just have to get to them.
That's fantastic. I love that. I think it's so fantastic. So very excited to see what's coming for you costuming wise. Now I know in your downtime, as I call it, which isn't really downtime, you have started doing some actual wheelchair racing, and I've run with you, and you're
right.
quick dudes. So how did you get into wheelchair racing? Like, what made you get up one morning and go, I could do that, I could do this?
That didn't actually start until after I had my legs amputated. When I got sick from a massive infection that spread through my body. And when I got out of a coma for 3 months, and my legs and my knees and hips had fused in a laying down position, which is why I started out doing on the stretcher. And I spent years on that stretcher, pushing me, doing whatever. And I found a doctor who would basically remove my hips and my legs, and they couldn't remove my lower legs because they were afraid of the legs twisting and I would pinch an artery, so that's why I ended up with the amputations. When that happened, between the time I got sick and that time, I had gained 40-50 pounds. So I had needed to do something to lose the weight. So I started pushing myself around my block. That's how it started.
So now,
really.
Were you pushing in your power chair, or did you have a push wheelchair at that point?
It was actually my day wheelchair that I started in. I raced in my day chair for about a year and a half. And I was like, well, this is fun. And then I started coming across races that did not allow day chairs. I have a purpose-built specific wheelchair. And that's when I started really getting serious about fitness and running and racing and all that stuff.
Now I remember running with you. I think it was a Universal race that we did, and you were still in your regular pushchair, and you still friggin' Hot Wheels leading the way over there. I was having some issues keeping up with your little quickness.
That was so.
That was
much
a
fun.
lot of fun.
That was the race that started this adventure that I've been on.
And you've raced at a lot of different places. I know with the Universal race you've done some of the Disney races, which I have some pictures I'll put up here in a few minutes, and then you've also done some out-of-state races too. So how did you go from doing like the local races like Universal and Disney, and I know there's some around you guys locally too that you've done, to looking into going out of state?
Okay, the out-of-state ones that I've done, I did the All-American Marathon, the All-Marathon in North Carolina of Fort Bragg, because my cousin is a Green station on Fort Bragg. So I ran with his wife, my cousin, in the 5K there, and that's how that one started. I'm all about supporting the military members, so I wanted to do different military races.
I think that's phenomenal.
And that's where that one came from. I haven't really been out of state since, but I plan on doing some others. I went to Air Force Marathon in Dayton, Ohio, and I want the Marine Corps Marathon, which is up in Washington.
Oh, nice.
I want to do one race for each of the branches.
That's great.
And
I love it. I love it.
I don't remember how Disney started. I think I was in therapy for like 3 months, and I was like, I want to do a race, and I was just way out of shape. I was just spitballing a goal, and I found out Disney did races, and I'm like, ooh, this could be fun. And well, I'm addicted. It's 3 years later,
now,
2 years later.
To show some pictures real quick. Now this is I'm showing a picture of your wheelchair. This is your outside setup. With your bright, beautiful, amazing, lovely orange color. So that's where you're set up to do some of your practice runs. Then I've got a shot here of you in the chair practicing. Clearly you're not going anywhere because you're hooked up to a little thing there on the back porch. But so that's your racing chair. Now, is that something that you had to have specifically tailored for you, or is that something that they already had the base model of, you just added and tweaked things? Or how does that come about, getting a chair that's that geared towards racing?
There is a company here in Florida called Top, who makes sports specific wheelchairs, make basketball, rugby, racing wheelchairs and stuff like that, and they are all handmade specifically to each individual person.
Now, did you get to? I have to ask. Did you get to pick your color?
Yes, I did. I specifically picked orange because it was the greatest thing I could find. Anybody's. I never liked bright colors until I got that chair.
And just to kind of show this chair one more time here, this beautiful bright ass orange chair. That thing really is. It's gorgeous, and I do love that particular bright orange, that shade. It definitely stands out, and it does draw the eye to it, rather quickly. So I'm sure as you're running these races, it probably makes it a little bit easier for people to see you as well. Because I know sometimes, even when you and I ran, we had that issue where people, didn't really see you because most people don't pay attention to something that's not, lower to the ground, and B, you were in your regular pushroom chair, and nothing about that really stood out. I know you had some lights on the chair, and that helped a little bit, but for the most part, people they don't see it, so unless it's super bright and right in their face, they're not going to pay attention to it.
Pretty much. And I wanted to do it, people who were spectating, like Mom and that, you could pick me up really easy coming from way far away.
I was like, wait, is that Jarrad?
It's
wait
a
a second. Oh, wait, there's the orange. That's Jarrad. He's coming. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of racers that I race with that it takes a while to catch them because they have dark chairs, so you don't really see them until they're on top of you. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
So let's take just to show some pictures here. So here I've got a picture of you. Now this isn't one of the Disney races. I want to say this is probably the princess race. There's you in front of Cinderella's castle. You've got your light on your racer, and it looks like you're tearing down the lane there pretty good.
Can't see the picture. Oh yeah. This was Oh yeah, this was actually from this year. This was from the half marathon from this year. I originally had signed up in 2017 for the Disney race. I was only going to do a 5K, which is 3.1 miles. Well, I found out that I could run through Cinderella's castle. And the only way I could run through Cinderella's castle was to sign up for a marathon, just 13 miles, significantly more. I had only gone 3 miles at that point in time. The first I ran it, which was last year, and so I was like, oh, I'll make the best of it, and that was the biggest defining factor of why I love Disney races. Besides their racers, was the fact that I could iconic as like running through Cinderella's castle with basically nobody there.
That's awesome. I mean, it's very, very. I mean, it's just to show the picture again one more time. It's absolutely beautiful. There's nobody around you. From the looks of it, it looks like you're just kind of tearing through, coming down that straightaway. And it's a beautiful picture, and B, I can only imagine it's got to feel somewhat surreal being able to go through, partially a park that's normally cram-packed with people, like that, and have A, room to go, and B, not have to worry about, quote-unquote stepping or, rolling into anybody.
Now, my first year was a different story because I was so much slower. I was in big packs
Oh, wow.
of people. This year, oh yeah, you're talking, that specific race is one of their biggest. There was 20 to 30,000 people. So the first year I was in giant groups of people. This year I had gotten much faster, so there wasn't the big crowds of people to try and work my way through.
That's good. Now I think I've got another picture here. Oops, there's you running. Aha! This is probably one of my favorite photos that I have of you. I think you sent me this one too. This is you crossing the finish line. You've got your arms out. This is the end of the race. You did it, and you've got the confetti flowing. You've got Minnie in there. It's such a great picture. I mean, that's got to feel really good to come slamming across that finish line like that.
Oh, heck yeah. So, my first year doing this, I was so slow I did not get confetti or anything like that.
Oh, wow.
But this year I was so much faster. I was able to get the confetti, the finish line banner and all that, and it is a amazing feeling to be able to cross like that.
Oh, it's got to be completely just surreal in itself, going through that. I can only imagine. And I mean, especially for you, like, you were saying that when you first started doing these races, you were kind of slow, you were stuck in that pack, and now through, practicing and training, you've become quite the little speed demon. You've been flying, and I believe you actually placed this one, didn't you? The last race that you did?
Yeah, I took male wheelchair champion for both the 10K and the half marathon.
That's awesome.
Now, my first year, my time, talk about times, it took almost 3 hours to finish the 13 miles. I was at 2 hours and 51 minutes, which is why I was in huge people. And this year, for the half marathon, I dropped my time down to I was an hour and 36 minutes.
That's phenomenal. It really is. That's just awesome. I did also pull another photo here. I've got a group photo. Now, this is from this year. This is the Princess Half Marathon. So I've got a photo of you, and then 3 other wheelchair racers, and then a few other racers as well. So they've got this big group photo, which is absolutely lovely, and you've got all kinds of medals around your neck. It looks like you have a Cinderella slipper in your hand. Tell us a little bit about the medals and the slipper and what they mean, because I'm not familiar with them, and I know some of our fans out there aren't either.
So each Disney race, they have what's called a challenge, and for the princess, it's called the Princess Challenge. If it's 2 days, if you do the 10K on Saturday and the half marathon on Sunday, and you get what's called the Princess Challenge, which is a third medal.
Okay.
So you get the 10K medal, the half marathon medal, and you get a challenge medal. that represents all of the miles, and it's 19.2 miles total.
Jesus. How are your arms not jello after that?
Lots of training. I started bumping my training. Each time I run, it's 13 miles or more now.
That's
just
I'd be jello. Good for you, man. That's absolutely amazing. I think I would have been like done after the first one. I would have tapped and been like, no, I'm good. So I think that's phenomenal. And I mean, there's a lot of people out there who are like, hey, you know, I could never do that. I could never do this. But I mean, you're somebody who's running, you know, a full bar, and you're not stopping. And I think that that's phenomenal. And you don't let, you know, the fact that you had your amputations, you don't let any of that stop you. And I think that's such a wonderful thing. And it really is an inspirational, you know, story behind you and what you've done and what you're doing and what you're hoping to accomplish in the future too. And I think it's awesome.
Here's the thing. I wanted to prove to myself that it could be done, but in the interim, I'm glad that I could show other people at the same time that it doesn't stop at a disability or a disadvantage, that you can turn it into your advantage, whether that's cosplay, whether that's racing, or whatever. Because, like, we can go back. Okay, go back to cosplay real quick. So I told the doctor when I had my amputations that he needed to leave enough of my leg to attach things to. I wanted to be able to attach like fake legs onto my own legs. So that was one of the stipulations I had with my doctor with my amputations, was he had to leave enough of my bones that I could attach costume pieces to, and that I could ride rides at theme parks, because that was something I did prior to my getting sick, having these amputations.
That you enjoy doing.
Heck yeah. And I wanted to kind of get back to that. Now, there still are some limitations, but not as much as would have been if I did not have those amputations. I definitely would not have met the people that I have had I not had this happen to me. I would never have found Spooky Empire. I would have never found the horror scene as much as I have. I would never have gotten into racing. None of that was on my radar until this happened. It really was, in a way, an advantage to me of having this, what people perceive as something so awful, happen.
But it's, and in that, you know, what Jane Doe over here might see as something being awful, you know, like you said, it's because of this thing that happened to you, you've had so many other good experiences and phenomenal things happen, and you've met so many amazing, you know, people who you are, you know, that are your friends, that are your family, that are, you know, supportive. And I mean, sure, you get your bad apples here and there, but whatever. You know, that's life in general. But I mean, it's so fantastic that you have that outlook on it, you know, today, as opposed to being one of those people that just sits back and is like, you know, this sucks, woe is me, you know, bleh. It's so good to see that you've got this outlook on it. And I know, you know, anybody that's ever met you, it just kind of walks away and they're just kind of like personally, like, we don't see the chairs. You know what I mean? Like, we just see you. So that doesn't really cross my mind, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. There is a quote that I use from a movie. It's from Shawshank Redemption. It is, get busy living or get busy dying.
And there,
I tried something. Dying, so I might as well get busy living.
Do the
honestly.
good things, man. And I mean, you know, like you said, if you had never had this thing happen to you, if you had never gotten sick and had to have your legs, you know, amputated, and have never found Spooky, we would have never known you and Ma and, you know, Dave. We would never know you guys. So as much as, you know, that portion of it sucks, I'm kind of glad in a way, because it brought you into our lives.
Me too. Because I would have never met the Spooky family that I have now. I would have never met the Disney family that I have now. have never found the amazing people that I have had this not happened. I would have been on a completely different path, and who knows what happened there.
Well, the saying always goes, it happens for a reason.
You know what? You make the best of it, and sometimes you make fun of it.
Most of the time you make fun of it.
As we know,
let's be honest.
That's why I like myself a besides the offends a lot of people.
It does. And it's now there's plenty of you out there who are watching this don't realize they may get offended by that type of remark, but it's, a spade's a spade.
That's the other thing I like to say. Be offended for me. If I be offended over something, I will be offended over it. Don't be offended for me. That's why I like to say what I say.
I think it...
Because if you're going to be offended for me, I don't want to have anything to do with you.
No. Now, if you're offended, that's a different story. But it's hard to offend you, I found. So, I ain't even going to worry about none of that. Now, we've got quite a few people in the chat, some spooky fam, and I've got Brian in here asking if there's any plans on you coloring that beard. Maybe a nice fuchsia or a Hulk green. Have you thought about coloring that salt out of there, or are you going to let it go?
I'm actually thinking about... there's something coming up. I usually do that kind of for my my races. So there is a plan for next year. As you showed the picture this year of my princess race where I had wings, there's a plan for next year. I'm going to a sparkly tutu, and I'm going to get my beard probably some kind of weird color like pink or something crazy. And I'm gonna glitter myself out.
Oh yeah, are you gonna glitter beard it?
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be tons of fun. I'm excited to see that.
I save it for stuff like that.
Alex Sanchez says that you need to get some Viking beard beads.
I tried to do that, and my beard is so thick that it did.
Rub it in for those thin bearded men out there. That yours is thick and luscious. Just go ahead, rub that right in.
There you go.
Have you tried to do like the Christmas bulbs? Like, have you seen those where people put little like Christmas ornaments in their beards?
Yes, I have those, and I have the lights that go in the beard.
Oh my god, you have... That's pretty epic that you have lights. There's a part of me that kind of wants to grow facial hair so that I could put things like lights and beads in them, but the other part thinks that would be a bit much for my face.
Okay. Part-time bearded lady in a sideshow.
How much fun would that be? I would be down. That sounds like a fun costume.
Mom did bearded lady for one of our
That's
parties.
right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I'm gonna have to find that picture. It's right. She did. You guys do such awesome costumes, and I absolutely, I love it. I have a great time watching you guys in costume. I have a great time watching the reactions that people have. Do you guys? JD says no glitter.
No glitter.
JD is anti. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm anti-glitter. JD is anti-glitter. We are not. It gets everywhere. Oh my god, and you can't get it off, and it's just I can't do it, man.
Put a little baby oil in your hair first before you do it. It comes right out.
It's not bad. Wouldn't it get clumpy though? No.
No. It just sticks to it.
JD, we have extra hair. We do have extra hair. We could try it. I would be game to give it a shot. JD's got a nice little baby beard growing in. Maybe I can do that with his beard later.
There you go.
He's in the other room hating me right now. He's like, I hate you so much.
Freaking firing.
I know, and he's watching, so he's gonna hear it all later. So
you need to get some of those little butterfly hair clips.
You know, I have skeleton hand hair clips, because of course I do. I think those would look good. The stripper herpes.
There you go.
Alex, glitter is equivalent to stripper herpes. Yes, you're not wrong. Oh, good lord. So does anybody have any questions for our buddy Jarrad while we got him in here hanging out with us on this fine Wednesday evening? I got a question for you. Okay.
What's that?
So, now you talked about them when they did the operation and cut your legs off. Did they leave enough for you to get on coasters? I know the answer to this, but I'm asking because you had mentioned it, and I don't think our audience here knows that answer.
I wish, but because I am a double amputee, the only way that I could ride roller coasters, which I loved to before, was if part of my leg actually bent down, and neither one of my legs do that. They're straight out.
Okay.
That is the one thing I lost that I miss, honestly, is I was a big coaster freak before this happened.
Well, I know there is a company out there that does make a harness that you can hook into the coaster, but I think the coaster itself has to have that hook in for it to be usable, correct?
That's just it. That's just it. The coaster has to have an adaptation for that system, and not a lot of companies are willing to do that. It has to be built into the seat itself.
Okay, I gotcha. Now, do you have a Facebook page other than your personal Facebook page? Did you set one up for Cripple Cosplay or for your racing? I know you have Instagrams.
I do have one for Cripple Cosplay and for my running. I mostly use Instagram.
And I'm going to pop your Instagrams up here real quick. So here is how you can find Jarrad if you want to follow him on Instagram. He is under Cripple Cosplay. Look for the Herman Monster. Give him a follow. He is active on there. And then for his racing, we have him at Running Period with Period Style. He's on there as well. This is where he posts all of his racing stuff. You can find there. And then, of course, all of his costuming is going to be on Cripple Cosplay for his Instagram. So give him a follow. Like all of his things. JD is in there asking, what's your favorite whiskey? We go to booze. From costuming to booze, it kind of goes hand in hand.
That's the hardest question in the world. No, actually.
No?
It's probably the whiskey. I haven't had yet.
Now, have you tried the screwball whiskey, the peanut butter whiskey?
Yes. It's not my favorite.
Not a fan?
No, not really. The aftertaste is
It's
weird.
like a warm Reese's running down your throat. It's delicious. Put it in Coffee Shop of Horror's peanut butter coffee. You're welcome.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm not a big whiskey kind of guy. Just like regular range whiskeys.
Okay. So, I mean, do you like a Jameson though, right? Okay, good. I was about to kick you off here right now if you were gonna say no. Just saying.
There's a beer barrel. I think it's IPA. Jameson, really good.
Oh, okay. You'll have to figure out what that is and then send that over. JD says we'll have to keep drinking until we find that out. Listen, you and JD, both of you, are not allowed to drink together without a babysitter since last spooky. All right, off-road?
Yeah, I know.
No.
I don't even remember
so
that.
Story time. We're gonna get into story time real quick. So last year, Spooky Empire, we're in Tampa, Florida. Had a great time. So my amazing husband and our good friend Jarrad here decided to go across the bridge to, what was the name of that club? American Social.
Tampa.
And they decided to have some drinks over there, and they got a little happy. Okay. So on the way back, after getting a little happy, Jarrad decides to off-road, which I'm told was quite the the escapade. And my husband's laughing in the other room at this because he was contributing to this factor, as well as our friend Jake, who is also trouble in himself. So the three of you are not allowed to go off drinking without a sitter from now on, because no.
That was the first out of all of them that I've been since 2018 that I don't remember that night. I honestly don't remember. I remember going to the American Social and nothing else after that until the next morning. That was the first time I've ever gotten blackout.
Oh, we remember. And Pepperidge Farm remembers too.
I'm glad somebody remembers this. Man, that was...
I remember. Ma remembers too. Ma doesn't remember all that, but I'm sure she remembers too. Yes, you were in the power chair. So you were not in the push chair, you were in the power chair.
I think that made it even worse. Yeah. If I'm going to do that kind of drinking, I need to be in my manual chair.
New rule. I got,
The power chair is
let's see here.
Power chair is some costuming, though.
Yeah?
Oh,
we
yeah.
got,
because you can hang and I don't have to carry it.
It's easier to transport your liquor.
Yeah. There's a lot more places to hide it.
You're not wrong. There really are a lot of good places to hide booze. So that's I would chalk that up as an advantage of having a chair, is the places to hide your alcohol when you're not supposed to have alcohol. Just saying.
I'm gonna have somebody make me a set of fake legs that are hollow on the inside that I can...
You need like fake leg coolers. Like, I also have
Yep.
to send you a picture. We have like a big long thing, and it looks like it's supposed to hold a baseball, but it's actually like just for beers, and it's a cooler. So that needs to be the next thing, is like leg coolers, where it's just, you can put your beer, you can put your wine, you can put some liquor in there, whatever. Use it as like a little transportable. That'd be awesome.
I am not beyond putting alcohol in medical supplies and passing it off as medical things.
You do something like that?
Nope. Oh, wait, no.
I mean, it has been done. Let's see. Oh, I got Brian. I cannot ever say his last name. Brian Cogsman is in the chat. He says, misses everybody. And he says, Jared, give Ma a hug for him. We miss you too. We miss everybody as well. Jared, I know you and Mom miss everybody.
Foot rule. No.
Air hugs. We're going to air hug, and we're going to self-high five, and we're going to elbow tap. That's going to be the new thing. It's going to be like the little feet handshakes where you tap your feet to each other. That's going to be the new, the new hug.
I wouldn't know anything about that. Somebody does feet here.
Listen, all right, you got fake ones. Use them.
By that, that's discrimination
I
against
mean,
the feetless.
it very well could be. I mean, you could nub tap. Would that be sufficient?
I think there's some kind of fish for that.
Oh, God. Nub tappers are us. All right, you know what? We've gone too far. Damn it. We've gone too far. That's right. Tanner had beer legs. So, a friend of ours, Tanner Monroe, and his girl Shannon from Mohawk Crew, quick plug, they did the costume for the Wet Bandits from Home Alone for the Zombie Walk. And they had Kevin McAllister's from like the waist down. So they had his legs, and the top of it was all blood and guts, but the legs they actually made into beer coolers. So they had beers stuffed in the legs that they were carrying around as part of their costume.
I'd have that one step further and put a tap in, so you could just pull the hose out and start dispensing it.
Yeah, it needs to be like one of the beer helmet dispensers. You know what I'm talking about? Where you had the hold hats on, and you'd have the beers on the side, and then you just had the straw. That's how it should be, but you stick it in the legs. That'd be real awkward looking.
I don't know. I'll do you one better. You get some of the medical supplies, and bag, and start drinking whiskey out of a
I mean, it could be the same color.
It is the same color.
I mean, depends.
Sometimes.
I was gonna say not all the time,
Kind of.
but sometimes.
If you're dehydrated enough, it is.
Yeah, you're not wrong at all.
I kind of want to do. I just want to pull out like a urine bag and just start drinking out of it.
You need to
Freak
do it
people.
like in front of security somewhere. If they're like, just be like,
Use it to get past security and then just do it in
that's what I'm
front of people.
saying. Like, just totally screw with them. That would be hilarious. I'm excited. I want to be there for it. I want to witness this. I think it's gonna be awesome. So, all right, we're almost at an hour in. So, does anybody else have any questions or comments for Jarrad? Got a few people in the chat kind of hanging out. JD's asking, where would the hose come from? You know what? Stop it. Stop it, JD. Sicko. Alright, so. Alright, so I'm gonna pop up your Instagrams here one more time real quick. So again, you can follow Jarrad on his Instagram accounts. He has Cripple Cosplay, as you see here. And then he has his Instagram for his racing, which is running period with period style. You can follow his shenanigans here as well. And keep an eye on all the awesome things that he's up to. What's up, Jesse? A couple of other people saying hi in the chat.
I will tell you about my August costume. I won't tell you about October. I'll tell you about August.
Is this the one I already know about?
I don't know.
Is this the one
Maybe?
that Ma's doing, or is this something separate from Ma?
Oh no!
All right, what you got? Share with us. What are you doing for August? I'm assuming this is AugustSpookyEmpire.com. Get your tickets on sale.
So I have a pair of bloody stumps that some made me that look like cut off legs. I'm in a lumberjack accident system
Yes.
with a chain and everything, so it's gonna have the bloody stumps. Super simple. I decided that the off season spook are gonna be real super nice and chill. We're gonna go all out come October.
Now, are you guys planning to attend in October? Because I know we talked previously, and there was mention that you guys might not be able to make it.
It honestly depends right now with what goes on with coronavirus. Because I'm supposed to be going to watch one of my friends participate in the New York City
Oh,
got
wow.
in. So it depends on if the New York City Marathon, because it's on the same as Spooky.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's understandable. So, if they cancel that marathon, could we expect to see you guys a day?
Yeah, for sure.
Is it wrong that I kind of sort of want it to get canceled so I can see you guys? That might be selfish
Yep.
reasons.
The reason we made that decision the reason we made that decision is because we got if we would go. Plus, it's probably a once in a lifetime thing.
Oh, yeah.
I will get to witness the New York Marathon and meet some of the other professional wheelchair racers. That's the other thing. I want to meet some of the people that I follow, which is a gigantic opportunity
it's
for me
huge.
to in this sport.
No, I think it's awesome, and I don't blame you. I think it would be a phenomenal opportunity, and fingers crossed that it still happens so that you can go and you can do some networking, because that's really huge too.
So there's part of me that said, this is a great opportunity. This is wonderful. I want to do this. And the other part's going, I'm gonna miss Spooky.
We'll just have to do what we did last time you guys missed Spooky. We'll have to get a picture of your heads and take you everywhere and take pictures like we did last time.
Yes, please do.
Because I still have those pictures somewhere with like random pictures of like you and Ma with people. I'll have to find them. But yeah, we'll have to do something like that for you guys. If you end up in New York instead, and if you do end up in New York, eat all the food, because that's the one thing I miss so much about up there is the friggin' food, the pizza. Oh my God.
Yes. I already said I want
Yes.
water dogs. The first thing I want is a water dog. And New York pretzel. Just pizza. Real pizza,
Real bagels.
please. I don't care who you are and what you call. You can call yourself New York style all you want. You cannot replicate that.
You can try, and it's cute that you try, and you can claim it, but we all really know it's not.
Oh yeah. We had this over by me who used to actually import their water from New York City,
Wow.
and the owner of that actually ended up dying recently, so they closed down the store. It was the only place you get anything in New York, and I was like,
Wow,
man.
that's hardcore to ship your water. Jeez.
Yep. Well, if you want, that's honestly what makes New York bagel anything.
I will say
water.
this: there is a big difference in New York water versus our water. This is what this has become, by the way. So when I've gone up to New York to visit, when I've gone to see family and things like that, I've noticed, like, as girly as the statement is that's about to come out of my mouth, there is a big difference when I wash my hair with New York water versus the water down here. And my New York water is so much better in my hair than Florida water. I'm just putting that out there right now. I don't care what anybody says. Facts.
Gee, rub that in too.
Shut up. You
little
got
hair.
face hair. I don't want to hear it. You still got hair. You shut your mouth over there, all right? Plus, you've got wigs. I've seen you in them. I don't want to hear it.
Me?
So, before we go, let's talk about that real quick. What's that thing that you do where you put some drag on and you shake it?
So the guy who made my Krampus costume, who made her, is Andy Wright, Morse Store at a company out of Orlando. They put, you might also know Boss the Clown to come to Spooky Empire, and so they make all my costumes. Every year they put on a drag show, straight men, real makeup. It's a completely benefit donation show, and every year I participate, and we do, it's a drag show with straight men, and it is so much fun. This year we raised One Pulse Foundation. Yeah, I do enjoy doing that every year, and that's another way for me to freak people out, honestly. Because I usually wear my fake legs and pull them off at some point.
I remember the first year you did it, I saw a video of that. You shared it. And if I can find it, I'll share it through the page, where you were doing Walking on Sunshine, which I cannot hear that song anymore without thinking of you and your friggin' legs getting ripped off. Because towards the end of that song, as you're wheeling and dealing with your pretty blonde hair and your pretty little outfit, all of a sudden the boys reach over and rip your legs off. I mean, that was awesome. So I think that's fantastic. So that's another thing that that you're out there doing is your way to give back to the community as you participate in fun fundraisers like that. And I think that's awesome. And I got Petey Mangelli jumped in the chat, and see, I'm not crazy. Somebody agrees with me. He says the same thing. His hair always looks better in New York. It's a thing.
It's minerals.
It is. It's facts, people. Trust me, next time you go to New York, any of you that watch this or, that may live up there that are visiting, do the test. Wash your hair with that New York water and then wash it with Florida water. And you tell me how much better New York water is in your hair. Facts.
But no, I love to do charity stuff because if I give back, that's great. Like I do, not only do I do the real makeup, is I also do a charity event for the Kids the World Village, which brings it's kind of like Make-A-Wish, but people down to Kissimmee, and they have this whole set up, and they invite sick kids who it's like Make-A-Wish, and every year they put on a charity run called
I can't think of the name of it. I know what you're talking about, but I can't think. Oh, what's the name of it? I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna cheat.
So every year in the village they put on this run. last year, Dina Bina invited me, who's of course another friend, and so I wanted to show the kids who were in wheelchairs. They've got some kind of limiting thing. Stop there, so I came there with my chair, not only to raise funds for them, but to show people that stop there. And it's one of my favorite things to do during the year. It's fun, but man, it's a blast to see the kids out there and the parents and everything else.
See, that's got to be awesome, especially for the kids that are in a situation where they are wheelchair bound, where it's like they don't have, life doesn't stop because you're in a chair. Life doesn't get put on hold. The only limit that you really have is those limits that you set for yourself. And if you think you can do it, you can do it. You know what I mean? And you're definitely a very big inspiration for that. And I'm sure for those kids to see, someone in your position, that you're still able to get out there and you're able to race and to do things like that on your own. It's got to be very impactful for them at a young age. And hell, even at my age, it's impactful because I'm like, I can't get my lazy ass off the couch. Yet Jarrad's out there running a 5K. I got no excuses.
Called the Challenge for Hope at Give Kids the World Village. And I'm pushing myself to see people push further. Like back to Disney with the racing. My first year, I did 2 races. I did Princess, and they have a Star Wars race. I did the half marathons for both of them. This past year, I did the challenge, which was the 10K, which is 6.8 miles plus half marathon. And I was going to do it again for Star Wars, but unfortunately COVID-19 and it got canceled. But I'm planning on doing in November. They have another one called Wine and Dine that's, of course, based around Disney's Wine and Dine.
Now, was that at Epcot?
I'm also doing. Wine and Dine is at Epcot, but it's basically almost the same route as Princess, which is really cool because some of them they take you through different parks. Like for Princess, we got to run through Magic Kingdom, and we got to run through Epcot. So you start, you run through Magic Kingdom, you come back down, and through Epcot, which was super cool. And I'm doing for my first year the Wine and Dine challenge, which is again the 10.5 marathon, but this year is villain.
Are you gonna dress up like a Disney villain? Yeah,
Heck
you
yeah,
are.
I won't tell you what. I tell you what
What
villain.
kind of crap is that? Come on, give me something. Work with me. Come on.
Nope.
I'm gonna get it out of you at some point. It's gonna happen.
Okay, I'll tell you this. It's a male villain.
Listen. Are you doing Hook?
So, no.
You need to.
No.
Yes, you need to do Hook, and you need to have the gator attached to your chair. Done.
No. We're working toward that, but that's going to be different. I will tell you about that one. One of my friends who I've met through. Huh? Of course you this is who I met through Spooky actually. Nick Ferreira, who is a phenomenal artist who was on. He's also Disney Run.
Ah, that's right. I forgot about
Last year. Yes, last year he came up to me and said he wanted to do a costume with me, and he wants to do for Marathon Weekend. He wants to do Hook. He wants to dress as Captain Hook, and he wants to make the crocodile.
Yes.
So he can be chasing after me as
That's
a crocodile.
awesome.
That is coming. So that play is coming up. Of course, it's going to be at a Disney
That's
race.
still awesome. I want all the pictures. That's going to be a lot of fun. See, I'd be excited. Now, see, I love that. So Disney's cool with you doing like costumes and things like that for their runs. Then do they encourage it? Is that something that they're very much like, hey, dress up, let's do this?
They honestly have very few rules. You cannot wear full face masks. Your costume cannot drag the ground. That's pretty much it. It's one of the only times that and it can actually get away with costume.
Other than
Disney.
Mickey's Not So Scary.
Yeah, other than Mickey's Not So Scary, it's one of the only times you can get away with it.
I'm just saying, I'm still sad I can't dress up in full, Sith garb and go to Galaxy's Edge, because I'm gonna figure out a way to do it. It's gonna happen at some point. Just saying. Once all this is over with and Disney's back open and it's safe to go venture out amongst the peoples again, it's gonna happen.
So this year, I don't know if that was gonna be this year, because it's gonna be my first marathon weekend. So it might not be this year, but hopefully next year if I do Captain Hook.
I love that idea.
I have to see what Nick's going. Because this year's, like I said, this year's gonna be my first marathon weekend.
Yeah. See, that's a cool idea. I'm excited. I'm excited to see.
Marathon weekend's the only weekend that they have a full marathon. Usually a 5K, a 10.
Oh,
marathon.
wow.
But marathon weekend, they have 5 to 10 and a full.
Yeah, you're ridiculous. I can't. I'm lucky if I get like one of the baby races in. Meanwhile, you're like, I'm gonna run 3 of them.
Oh no! I decided I'm running all 4. I'm gonna do what's okay. So there's
What's wrong
the
with
baby
you?
challenge. The baby challenge is called the Goofy challenge. It is a half marathon and a full marathon. 2 miles anyway, doesn't know. And then what's called the Dopey challenge, which is 4 days. It's the 5K, the 10, half marathon, and the full marathon. It's 48.6 miles total, which I have pretty much find myself actually doing.
Jeez, you're ridiculous. Stop it.
Here's the other thing about that. The full marathon is the only race that you can run through all the Disney parks on free in one
Really?
race.
Okay.
So, for Princess, you run through Magic Kingdom and Epcot. For Star Wars, you run through Hollywood Studios and Epcot, or Hollywood Studios, Kingdom, and then back to Epcot. And then for Marathon Weekend, it's the only time you get to run all 4.
Oh, wow.
Which is another thing. But again, it's one of the only reasons I want to do the full. Besides the fact that I want to see if I can.
You can do it.
Pushing myself.
You can do it. I know you can do it. Yeah. People out there that are watching, your friends, your family, we all know you can do it. We're rooting for you. Just got to get back on that horse and keep practicing, and you got it. We got faith in you.
Now that they finally opened up the parks, I can finally go back to my running trail.
Awesome.
So
do it.
Hopefully.
All right. Well, I think we're about out of time, so we're gonna wrap this bad boy up. Again, if you guys are interested in stalking Jarrad silently from afar on Instagram, make sure you're following him at Cripple Cosplay, or you can follow his running at running_with_style. Again, both of these are his Instagram accounts. Give him a like, give him a follow. Check him out. Jarrad, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, for talking with us about, your disability, your costuming, your running, the whole thing. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It was fun. And this actually took me out for its own too, because
aha! Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because we're gonna do it again sometime.
Heck yeah, I'm all growth at this point. I want to do things that push my comfort zone, which is what I'm all about.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in, and until next time, keep it spooky.